Hey there, Wondering Watchers. Welcome to this tarot card reading made for true crime fans. In this video, I'm going to do a Celtic cross reading of the person who viciously butchered 4 University of Idaho students in their sleep. I want to find out what the killer is dealing with right now and see the external and internal factors that might determine the killer's next move. I just posted a tarot video exploring the killer's chakra energy, which digs into things like the killer's sense of security, sexuality, and power. My initial video on this subject only covered the killer's motives for the murders. But now, let's get into this Celtic cross reading. Okay. So I'll go through the different cards, identify the positions, and then go through the meaning and do some clarifications. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out. Okay, interesting. Okay. So the card at the bottom of the deck, we have the 6 of Pentacles. This is the influencing energy of the reading, and it kind of indicates a sense of balancing certain wants and needs, trying to kind of get a sense of kind of harmony with the others around them, perhaps trying to make it so that the people who were around them before stay around them. So here, in the present situation of the killer, we have the King of Swords. And I have previously mentioned in my other videos that I feel like this is the energy of the killer, this King of Swords. So here, you have the King of Swords. What crosses this King of Swords, we have the 6 of Cups. Above them, in their area of focus, is the 5 of Wands. Below them, and this is something working in the background they might not be aware of, is this Strength card. In their past, they have the Sun. In the near future, they have Judgment. Their current attitude of the situation, Temperance. Their environment or the external factors that are influencing them, the Knight of Swords. In their hopes and fears, 3 of Pentacles. And the outcome of the situation is the 10 of Cups, which is pretty interesting. So here, in terms of the King of Swords, this is the present situation. So I get the sense that they're in their head trying to be clear in their strategy and how they're communicating with others and the amount of truth that they tell others. With the 6 of Cups crossing the King of Swords, the 6 of Cups is about memories, the past, also aspects of their inner child. You could see in this deck, there are mer children that are goofing around and playing with cups, not really sure what to do with them. but knowing that they're just having fun, kind of goofing around with each other. So it could be, to some extent, what's going on with the killer right now is trying to figure out what to do, but possibly haunted by some memories of their own past and possibly of the students that they murdered, if they were kind of in their kind of group together, socializing with them. So above, we have the Five of Wands. So that's the focus right now, is trying to take a bunch of impulses and desires that might be conflicting and trying to get them to work together in a way that makes it like a focused approach at whatever comes their way. It also, Five of Wands indicates instability and chaos, and it could be that around them there are a bunch of people trying to figure out who did this, why they did this, and really the murderer is trying to take that energy and recognize for themselves, like, how can that be used to their advantage, if it can at all. With the Strength card below the killer, this is a card of needing to really use tenderness to tame the beast. And so to some degree, there's something working in the murderer's subconscious mind, unconscious mind, however you want to describe it, where they are aware of their two sides and their need to really try to tone down their more murderous rage side with whatever they're trying to portray to others, to the general public. So here, it's interesting that the sun is in their past. It could be, to some degree, that they were kind of like either happy with these other people, but with this sun card, it's making me think of the fact that the sun card is tied to the sign of Leo, and there's a focus on ego. So we'll see when we clarify what that's about. Their attitude is this Temperance card, trying to slow things down, again using that focus, intention to really create the future that they want for themselves. I mentioned this card, I believe, in the motives video a lot, or I discussed this card. And in that video, Temperance I was seeing as something of the underlying issue of the killer kind of waiting and focusing their intention on some particular outcome, spending time like learning and seeing how things were blended together, aspects of the past with aspects of their present to create the future that they wanted, but didn't get. So here, this attitude of the situation is kind of like that same focus. So I'm wondering to some degree if this Six of Cups is them kind of reliving or rethinking about that night. In their environment, you got the Knight of Swords. These are external factors influencing them. With this Knight of Swords, it kind of seems like there's a lot of people on edge right now. And especially in that area where the murders took place, it seems that person, if the murderer wasn't directly involved with the victims' lives, they at least lived in the community. And so there seems to be kind of this want to figure things out, people ready to, it's almost like vigilante justice is what I'm picking up from this killer's environment, is they're trying to really outsmart everybody, and everyone's wants answers right now, and really kind of wanting to take some action, make someone pay for this. And so they might be even looking at this situation as taking some time away from others. Like maybe that's what this Temperance card is as well, is just laying low. In terms of their hopes and fears, we have the Three of Pentacles here. And this is about working with others, coming together and creating something. So perhaps this has to do with maybe they work together. I do believe I read somewhere that two of the roommates worked at the same place together. So we'll see. In the near future, you have this Judgment card. This is basically needing to reflect on your past truthfully, see what you've done, and recognize it. So that's kind of coming up in their near future. The outcome is the Ten of Cups. So in one of the other readings, I took the Ten of Cups to be representative of the home that the victims were in, and their social interactions together, their happiness, their day-to-day activities. So let's see if maybe the outcome here for this killer is just going back to day-to-day activities, kind of blending in. So let's see what we have here. I'm going to use the same deck to clarify the cards. So I'm going to spread this out a little bit more. Let's clarify this King of Swords. Yeah, the King of Cups. So they are possibly doing some drinking. But also I feel like they have this immature kind of concept of doing something and expecting a certain feeling or reaction to it, like a cause and effect that they don't really actually feel, and that they're kind of having, testing that out. Here, you have the King of Swords and the King of Cups. So it's almost as if what they were testing out I kind of got into the details of this in the chakras, the energy reading for the chakras, about how they seem to go through the motion of something and to see if they'll get a certain feeling from it. And it might have been something they have progressed into. So maybe they used to, when they were younger, like kill animals to see how it would make them feel, and they didn't really feel anything. Or they would, set fires to things to see, if the fire would excite them. And so it's just progressed to the point where they've now, murdered 4 people in their sleep, and they have fully embraced that aspect of the fact that the things that they think, the cause and effect of it, that they are totally either in control of their emotions or they just have no emotions when it comes to things that are just heinous. So I'm gonna pull another card for this. Okay. You have the Queen of Wands here. So it may be that this is one of the victims, because Ethan, the male that was murdered of the students, was just staying the night at the home with his girlfriend. It seems like this Queen of Wands is one of the girls that lived in the house. So, they were, in terms of the girls that were murdered, they were involved in sororities. So, very attractive, bubbly, energetic. So let's take a look at the Six of Cups here that is crossing this King of Swords. You have the Eight of Wands. And this is kind of, things are happening, things are moving, and it's almost as if they are really trying to hold on to the past, something that they are familiar with. And it could be just, they're sitting with their memories of the murders, but it does seem more that they are aware that things are kind of moving forward. Their environment isn't necessarily a place where they are safe or they feel safe. So it seems like they are kind of looking at their past a bit. So let's look at this past position with the Sun. You have the Wheel of Fortune. And this is, kind of karma changes, things don't stay the same. So the Sun is typically something that is happy. When the wheel turns, it could be that what was once happy is now the opposite of that, or far away from happiness. That what goes up must come down. And then these are like 2 major Arcana cards. So something in their past really affected them. I'm going to pull one more card here. Something affected them in terms of their ability to even see or feel like positive. Like even in this King of Cups, it's almost like the blue background that turns to gray it almost just feels cold any way you look at it. And then you've got this fiery Queen of Wands here in contrast. It's almost like, you know, a black and white film in contrast with a color film. So let's take a look at one more card for their past. You got the Fool. Okay, so there was something where they, maybe some new beginning, they were really excited about it, happy about it, you know, wanted to believe that nothing could harm them, and then something changed, something clicked. So what's interesting about the Fool is that aspect of the ego is not there. But it could be that they were at some point kind of really trusting of others, willing to have like an open heart and open mind, and something changed, and they started focusing on, you know, what they could get or weren't getting, and more on the ego as opposed to trusting others. So let's see about the Five of Wands. Above, we have the Moon. So it does seem that they're focusing on the chaos around them. There's not a lot of clarity about what's going on, even their own impulses. And there's possibly there's not like a lot of fear going on with this person, but it could come up with this strength below, because here, this is about self-acceptance, recognizing your inner strength. And that's where the doubts kind of come in. When you are really fighting your self or aspects of yourself, that's when fear and doubt kind of are the heaviest. You have King of Pentacles. There's a lot of kings here. And the King of Pentacles was the root or base chakra energy in the energy reading for the killer that indicated a sense of security. So it's as if they have this really instilled in them, is this belief of being strong, sturdy, not really letting yourself be weak, or maybe other people exposing that weakness. It also could be, to some degree, an issue that they have with a parent. I'm going to pull another card here. Ace of Wands. So that is kind of a spark, energy, inspiration. So really what's going on in the background is our beliefs of how you are strong, and you kind of impose your force on others, your energy on others, your intentions or passions. And it's not, because this King of Swords really is emotionally detached from reality. It's making me think that this Fool and the Sun is something that happened a long time ago, like when they were younger. because the Fool is kind of, innocence. The Sun, the traditional Sun card, there is a nude child riding on a white horse, and that is supposed to represent innocence and purity. And so here, if we look at this as their childhood, it could be why this focus is on their past. And here, what's working in the background, and they might not be aware of it, this could just be like either their own beliefs or something that they learned from a parent figure. This view of maybe how to deal with the things you want. Maybe you just take it with brute force. So let's get into this Temperance card here, which is their current attitude of the situation. You have the Nine of Cups. And that is about being happy and content. It's almost like they got what they wanted. Their wish was fulfilled. That's pretty disturbing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull another card for this Nine of Cups. We have the Star, which is another wish card. So it's almost as if their attitude is just focus on what's going on, like pay attention, take some time just to like watch, learn, wait, get your bearings, and things will work out the way they need to work out for this killer. And to some degree, while they wait, they can just, think about what they accomplished or what they feel they accomplished. So let's take a look at the Knight of Swords in their environment, the external factors. We have Two of Cups. So this Two of Cups, I feel, is more about the unity or the partnership between the people who are like grieving the loss of these students. The community is pulling together and acting as one to seek justice. So let's take a look at this Three of Pentacles and their hopes and fears. You have the World. And this is kind of about completing something. So what it kind of seems is, wow. So it's making me wonder if there are two killers involved as opposed to one. If this is their hopes, then kind of working together to kind of tie up loose ends to complete this project. If this is their fears, then this is kind of, it doesn't look like fears, but if you are someone who is the murderer, if you're a person that worked with the victims or somehow interacted with them, had a school project together, and have to go back and complete something, go back to work, go back to working on that project, then that's something that you're going to be fearful about, just in the sense of how you act after the murders and how people saw you act when you were working with or around that person. And it's easier to kind of blend in with the crowd when it's a crowd of people that you are just acquainted with. But if it's someone who has been watching you, like if it's a work supervisor, and knows your habits and routines, or a professor who has been overseeing some group project, or people in the sorority or in a fraternity that have been working towards some type of, party decorations or some project, some charity project, then people will see how the killer is operating in a very specific environment. And it's going to be harder for them just to blend in with the crowd. So let's see about this judgment in the near future. You have the Five of Swords here, and you can see in the Five of Swords, this is about winning at all costs. This is like, like stepping on someone who's fallen down, crushing them to make sure that you are victorious. And in this deck, you can see the Mer Child. They found these swords, and the Mer Child is somehow bleeding. So to some degree in the near future, it seems the killer is going to be seeing how they could win at all costs, if there's more that they need to do to win at all costs. I'm going to pull another card for that. You have the Two of Wands here. So it's almost a sense of planning something. You can see they're looking at this volcano in the distance that is smoking. So it makes me wonder if they are kind of reflecting to see if they are going to do this again. So the outcome is the Ten of Cups, which previously in a different video, I kind of thought represented the feel of the home where the students were murdered. So here we have the Nine of Wands. And this is kind of preparing, planning, kind of feeling worn down, but really wanting to complete something. So to some degree, it's almost as if the killer is going to want to kill again, want to visit the crime scene, because it's still not complete. Maybe it has to do with the two surviving roommates. I'm going to pull another card for this Nine of Wands. You have the Ace of Pentacles. This is kind of a new opportunity. So for them, it may be a new opportunity to kind of attack a happy home. So unfortunately, it kind of looks like this killer is really enjoying what they did, and hopeful about having their wishes come true in either ruining a happy household or Yeah. We're going after those surviving roommates, which all of that's just horrible. So I hope this provides a helpful perspective of what's going on with the Idaho killer right now. We'll see you next time. Take care.